coming in fast.
Well, that wasn't a bad landing. Hi there, my name's Lee and welcome to Bedtime Stories, Carp Adventures. This is Peg 5 and I'm back out at Trent View Carp Fishery for 72 hours. If you've been following the channel, you know that I fished Peg 5 at Trent View before and I did have a few carp out, 3 in total, the biggest one being 24 pound 8, and I was really chuffed with how that session went. So I'm hoping I can hit repeat and do it again. Before I get the rods out, let's have a quick lead around, see if I can find some decent spots. It's always a good idea at the beginning of the session, put maximum effort into finding those spots, because I don't like thrashing the water up once I've got all of the rods out and I'm all set up. I'm making several casts and I have found a couple of clear spots here and there, but they are patchy, mostly blanket weed. If you've never seen this done before, let me explain. I put 2 bank sticks in the ground exactly 12 foot apart. Now what I've done is wrap the lead around the one on the left hand side. Going to go over to the right bank stick, looping it over and repeat that until I get to where I put it in the clip. This will tell me exactly how many wraps I need each time. On this particular occasion it just happens to be 14 wraps. Make sure that your line's in the clip and wind back down. Now I know it's just under 14 wraps, I'm going to be doing this every time before I cast the rod out. Beginning to break a bit of a sweat. After 10 to 15 minutes having a lead around, yeah, I found some clearish spots at 14 wraps. And I'm going to get the rods out and them in. But before I do that, I want to introduce you to a new section I'm calling
Rig Off the...
This is the first ever rig of the month and I've chose the Multi Combi Rig. Can be used on a multitude of surfaces. You can use it on gravel, in the silt or even low-lying weed. Fished with a pop-up, a wafty or even a bottom bait. A very versatile rig, the Multi Combi Rig. Let's take a look at how you tie it. First you need to cut about 8 inches of supernatural braid. This will be used to form the supple section of the Multi Combi Rig. Fold it in half. Cut 8 inches of 20 pound IQ2 fluorocarbon. Make a loop in the fluorocarbon. Pass about 2 inches of the folded over braid section through the IQ2 loop. Pinch both the loops with your forefinger and thumb. Twist the braided tag ends around the IQ2 4 to 5 times. Move the braided loop out of the way. Pass the braided tag ends through the loop of the IQ2. Use a puller tool to pull both down tight. Cut the tag ends of the supernatural braid and the IQ2. A size 4 wide gape hook works best for this rig. To out-thread the braided loop section through the front of the eye, I use bait floss. Now your rig should look like this. Add small ring swivel using a bait needle. Pull the braided loop over the back of the hook. Leave about 4 mil to form the D section. Add some shrink tubing. Slide the shrink tubing over the hook. Mould on some rig putty. To keep the rig pushed straight out, slide on an anti-tangle sleeve. Now you need a crimping tool and a crimp. Slide the IQ2 through one side of the crimp, then the other side to make a loop. Then crimp with the crimping tool. Trim off the tag ends. Slide the anti-tangle sleeve over the crimp. At this point the rig's nearly finished and should look a little bit like this. With one last thing do, using your kettle, steam down the shrink tubing. There we go, the Multi Combi Rig. Now I've tied it, let's get a bait on it and get it cast out, because this is the rig I'm using on this session.
Rig Off the month.
Finally, that's all 3 rods out. The right and the middle are both fishing at 14 wraps on a clearish spot, as I mentioned, and then the left rod is at 17 wraps towards the far margin. Just one quickly have a whinge about this. Cigarette butts. If there's one thing I can't stand is turning up to a peg and there being a load of fag ends scattered all over the place. One of my OCD things is I bring an ashtray with me and I put all of my discarded cigarette butts into the ashtray. So there you go. If you happen to be a smoker, remember bring an ashtray with you. Tip your cigarette butts into your rubbish bag at the end of your day and take all of your rubbish back home with you. Over the last 12 hours there's been several carp show, mostly on the far margin, with a few showing over my baited spots on the middle and the right rod. So I've been sitting patiently waiting for one of them go off. I wonder if it'll happen. Just coming up to 9 o'clock and had my first run. Very slow take on the right rod. Hit into it. Yes, there was definitely a carp on the end, but only for about 5 to 10 seconds because my line snapped. Must have been a damaged section of the main line. So yeah, first run, lost it. After eating a load of junk food all through the winter sessions that I did, mostly burgers, bacon and egg baps with brown sauce, yeah, I've really troughed into them. I've got to get into the healthier food now, so on this session I brought myself a nice chicken pasty with a tiny bit of mayo. I've added some salad with about 4 or 5 baby tomatoes, and to be honest with you, it tastes pretty good. Just coming up to 10:15, and as you can see the light's fading. There's still a few carp showing, mostly on the far margin, but after losing that carp earlier, I'm still licking my wounds and a little bit gutted. But anyway, I'm going to call it a night for now. If anything happens, I'll give you an update. But I suppose I better get up at some point and make a start on today, get some more bait out and see if we can actually catch one of these carp, because it's looking like a pretty bleak July at the moment for me, but I've got my fingers crossed. Just gone 8 o'clock, nipped up to the Butty Bar, a burger van, because it's open at the weekends. Get myself a bacon and egg bap with some brown sauce. Absolutely spanking. Nothing to report through the night, just a ducks wiping me out this morning. It's about 5:30, swam through all of my lines and had to recast the rods, so that's the only thing I can say at the moment. The carp are showing in front of me. Maybe a mover's on the cards, but first I'm going to finish my bacon and egg bap. Quick drive down to the local shop, get some more milk. I've ran out, can't do without a brew, even though it is hot weather. Now I've made myself a cup of tea and got all 3 rods back out again. Let's see what today brings. I have decided against moving because after all, the carp are showing out in front of me. If the carp hadn't been showing, I would definitely move. Sit down, sit down. I finished my dinner off and then we'll do Truffles treats, what she got this week to eat. It's Truffles treats. And what's Truffle got this week for Truffles treats? Well, it's freeze-dried lamb toppers. Just like most dogs, Truffle does love the dog treats, but she has to have hyperallergenic dog food as well as hyperallergenic dog treats because she's got loads of allergies. Oh, this one's a big one. Sit down. Sit down. Enjoy that one, that's a big one. And that's Truffles treats. Another slow July afternoon. Now the temperature is over 20 odd degrees, so it is really warm, and to be honest with you, the fishing isn't that hot though. Been trying really hard, put a carp on the bank, kept the bait going in throughout the last 24 hours, but nothing has happened. Now I think the complex as a whole is fishing pretty slow because there's only been a few carp out over the last 48 hours. And to be honest with you, I don't really get the rods out much through July and August because I'm ginger and I don't really cope with the hot weather too well. But I'm going to persevere and stick at it because I would love to catch one of these Trent View carp again. It seems like July is treating me pretty mean at the moment. Mentioned at the end of the last video I did when I was at Roselle Carp Fishery that I was hoping to be doing some surface fishing on the next session. Well, this is the next session, and sadly, because the pegs here at Trent View are pretty close together, I don't think it'd be a really good idea to start firing out a load of biscuits or floaters and start them drifting off into the guy's swim next to me. Some people are not too keen on you surface fishing if they're still fishing on the deck. So I'll give that a miss and we'll get round to doing that in another session. The fishing might be a little bit slow, but on a plus side, the ice cream man's just been round. Oh. Absolute berg. I didn't eat all of it myself. I did share a little bit with Truffle. Now I've finished my ice cream, it's time to get some more bait out before it goes dark. I've wrapped the spod rod up to 14 wraps and put it in the clip, so the bait's going over the same spot where I put the rig. And on this session, I'm just using the Trent View house pallets, all in different sizes. Spod number 1, going out. Spod number 2, going out. Number 3, going out. Spod number 4, going out. And there we go, just a few spawns over the spot, just keep it topped up. I'm not really putting a lot of bait out, just enough to entice the carp down. That's a bit more bait out. All I can do now is sit back and wait. I've been sitting back and waiting now for the last 2 hours, and to be honest with you, the carp are still showing, but there's no action on them rods at all. It's going to be going dark soon, and I think I'm going to call it a night. Really slow through the night, nothing to say, nothing to report at all. Very strange, warm temperatures in the day. You think they might be feeding a bit more at night, but no. Shout out to Will, who was out fishing in the next peg to me. He's had 48 hours down here and he's blanked and he's gone home now. So yeah, it is fishing really slow this week. Just want to talk about air pressure and how it can affect the carp on these hot summer days. If you've got 1,010 bars, the carp are definitely going to be in the upper layers. Anything lower than 1,000 bars, the carp are mid-layer to the bottom of the lake. So I've had 2 zigs out at 5 foot and 6 foot, but nothing. I decided to do 72 hours because I set myself a target of 1 carp a day. I actually thought that was possible, and with only 12 hours of the session left, it's not looking very promising. Truffle's snoring a little head off. I think I'm going to get some Zeds too, because fishing, after all, is supposed to be relaxing. If there's one thing I'm sure we can all agree on, is that carp fishing definitely has its ups and downs. With so many carp showing in front of me over the last few days, it's really hard for me to say this. I can't believe I haven't caught anything. Just like always, I've enjoyed my time on the bank filming the vlog. It's always great fun to be out. Only one thing left to do, get the tackle all packed away, say goodbye to Trent View Fishery and make my way home. Thanks for watching, I'll catch you next time.